Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
And you got music playing?
Welcome to Sacred Space Sunday.
Yes, I'm Marc Christmas. I'm your Director of Holistic Wellness. And this is Naomi Jewell, the founder and spiritual director of the NIA Center. Soon to be Dr. Naomi Jewell. Awesome. NIA being purpose and attention. The Center presents today Sacred Space Sunday. So even if you're listening on the podcast, thank you and welcome to Educate, Engage, Educate, and Empower. Our spiritual conversations here will engage, educate, and empower you. Right? We draw from the insights of sacred texts, wisdom teachings across the ages, sages from the past and present, and universal ethical principles for practical strategies for transformation that create oneness, joy, and love. Right? Our transformation model is insight plus application equals results. We'll get to that a little bit later. Today, the conversation is about the power of oneness. Our program will include an affirmation, a moment for a posture of presence, mindfulness moment, a talk, and a conversation to engage, educate, and empower. Next, we recommend you practice applying the insights and close with a prayer to take you into your day and the days ahead. We're celebrating 3 years in the community as of September 19, 2022, almost 4 years now. Naomi, what happened this weekend? What's today? Happy Father's Day, right?
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers in all the forms. People show up as fathers. This is your day. We appreciate you. We thank you. We love you.
Yes. Good morning, Valori. Good morning, Auntie. Good morning, Monty. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Blessed rising. Yes. Good morning. Yes, and thank you for the Happy Father's Day.
Yep. Special day. I got a call today from Europe for my daughter, so that was pretty cool.
I mean, that's saying a lot, right? Calling you from Europe. That in itself is telling you that you did well.
Thank you, Facebook user.
Thank you, Facebook user. Yeah. And we've already had a wonderful Father's Day. Yesterday, we celebrated my dad, who's a musician, and went to see him play at a wonderful restaurant, which we will go ahead and give a shout out because they delivered a tremendous meal.
Yeah, Eddie B's.
In Tyson's Corner, Virginia.
Gotta give it up. They were.
Gotta give it up
was
for
excellent.
Eddie B.
About the appetizers, the water, the meal, the dessert, the coffee, the drinks, everything was on point. Perfect.
The service, the atmosphere, the energy, and of course, we can't say there's just not too much we can say about the music because the music.
They jammed the Bears.
The three bears, Papa Bear, Junior Bear, and Baby Bear. Shout out. Y'all brought it. We had a good time. My sister said the only thing missing was a dance floor, though she almost created one.
Yeah. He had a birthday too, right?
Yes, and his birthday is tomorrow. So shout out to A.D. Smith, many more, and shout out to both of my fathers. I'm blessed to have two and many who show up in that way, but to Curtis Jewell and A.D. Smith, happy Father's Day.
Yeah. So tell us about Juneteenth.
So Juneteenth, Monday is also Juneteenth, a time for recognition, acknowledging, remembering, reflection, emancipation, when the enslaved in Texas finally were told that emancipation had come to African Americans. And so that has been historically celebrated in Texas for a very, very long time and has even been a holiday in Texas, relatively speaking, for a long time. And 3 years ago became a national holiday. So we definitely want to recognize that, it is another form of acknowledgement to have Juneteenth be a national holiday in the midst of this time and environment where African American history and therefore American history is seeking to be erased by so many, and that there are laws in the books that actually allow for censorship of American history, particularly as it pertains to African Americans. And so June 19th, Monday, tomorrow, is a day to stand in our power, to give thanks for the ancestors, for the walk that they walk, their endurance, their resilience. And, we really are their legacy. And so it's an opportunity to be in gratitude, reflection, and joy. Joy about who we are and what we get to create on a daily basis.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably. I was thinking about that. I was like, how did? Well, I mean, I figured they didn't have internet, right, and text and stuff, so information wouldn't flow as fast. But to take 6 months to get all the way to Texas
Well,
from DC.
if you think about it, although things have changed a lot, they haven't changed that much. When you control the distribution channel, you control the information.
Yeah.
So that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
The distribution channels are different, right? It's not horse and carrier, but they had abilities to move information even in that time, right? It's just what information did they want to be moved into who, and so that has not changed, right? Not one bit.
Were there other states that were delayed in their announcing it as well, or was it just Texas? Do you know?
Well,
I don't know you.
That region of the country, and again, Mark would call me Google.
I don't expect you to be the answer to know overall, but you just did a program on it, so it may have come up.
So as you can imagine, no. But at that time, there were, so no, the answer is no, it wasn't the only state. But in terms of states that were part of the Confederate States and the Union, the United States wasn't formed as it's formed today in terms of 50 states. So you're talking about the communities that were part of that political environment, the states that were at war. There were states further west that were still kind of independent. So no, was it literally, but a part of what was considered the states at that time. That one's the furthest one away, and so therefore the last to get the information.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. You did a big thing at your job for Juneteenth as well, didn't you?
Yeah, we brought in a wonderful speaker, Dr. Joe Leonard, who's over at Howard University, who is actually an American history scholar and PhD. So reach out to him and don't tell him I sent you his way with your detailed questions about the history.
What was his name again?
Joe Leonard. Joe
Leonard.
Fantastic gentleman.
Dr. Leonard.
Fantastic general, Omega Psi-Phi, HBCU, and someone who's been a civil rights advocate and leader in this country for many, many years, and a public servant. And he continues that public service at Howard University. So thank you, Dr. Leonard, for coming and speaking with us. And just one other example of the legacy of our ancestors.
It's really great to have access to HU, to be that close, right, to where we are and the resources that they have. Even though they are I don't know if they are ops, but I guess that's what the kids would call them now. Went to FAMU. You see a FAMU jacket in the back hanging. But yeah, they've got a lot of good stuff that comes out of Howard, and got to give it up to them, right? So.
I'm sure they would appreciate you giving up a little to them. They're like, we got our own creds. The statistics speak for themselves, but we'll take it, Mark.
They got a vice president.
Yeah. They graduate and they continue to graduate the most in-person full-time Black PhDs in the country.
Yeah.
So that's tremendously significant in terms of their contributions historically just cannot be minimized.
I got a buddy who's an alum. He calls him the Mecca. The Mecca. Shout out to Dre T. I know he's probably not listening, but I'll put it. We're in our text group. I'll tell him I gave a shout out to the Mecca today. Awesome. So let's keep moving. So birthdays. So we talked about your dad's birthday is tomorrow, and the day after that is the last day of Gemini. So happy birthday! Shout out to any Gemini birthdays. And then what's after Gemini?
Cancers. The Cancers. Yep. The heart people. So your birthdays are coming up. So happy birthday to all Geminis and to all Cancers. And then next Sacred Space Sunday, again, we're first and third Sundays, is July 2nd. So right before the July 4th holiday will be the next Sacred Space Sunday. And
I wonder what we'll talk about then. Yeah, Independence Day.
Independence Day, so much to talk about. And I'll just say it's the summertime. And so, we reserve the right to replay one of our, what we're going to say, wonderful pre-broadcasts that you may have missed. Or, these talks do come to us and through us, as we're going to hear more about today. And so they bear repeating. So we don't consider a replay as a miss. It is just a call to replay and continue a conversation that we've had before. So in looking to seek balance that we offer, that you seek for yourselves, we reserve the right at times to offer you replays. But yeah. And with that, we're planning a holiday. We're going on a holiday tomorrow, and so looking forward to that. As a good friend of mine said, I need to go to nature to replenish. And so we will be traveling to nature in Virginia this week. And so looking forward to that and that period of rest and restoration.
Yeah, I'm supposed to say all of that on social media.
I didn't say where. I didn't say where. I said rest and restoration. That might be exactly where we are right now, which I didn't say where that was either.
All right.
Let's find our posture of presence.
Yes.
So join me, if you will, in getting settled in your space. Finding the opportunity to become completely present. Whether that is eyes lowered, eyes closed, or attentive to what is in front of you. Presence. Let's raise our shoulders, draw them backwards, and gently release them down. With the crown of our head pointed to sky. Acknowledging the earth below with feet on the ground, knees of sitting on a cushion, whatever it is, given the space you're in, noting how you are grounded to the earth below as your crown reaches to the sky. Sky, body, earth. Alignment, connection, oneness. Sky, body, earth. Centering in this connection through the holy gift that is our breath. Simply notice your breath, not controlling, noticing. Is it a short breath? Is it a strained breath? It is a long breath. Is it an easy breath? Relaxed. Sky, body, earth. One through breath. Inviting ease. Inviting joy. Inviting peace. It is through the power of oneness, the alignment of sky, body, earth, alignment to my source self, the inner being that I allow to emerge through me as me. I know this time is blessed. I know it is divine. I know it is perfectly unfolding. I know that the truth of our nature is compassion and love, joy, ease, and fun. This is my decree for this time and the energy that is sent to all that hear and all that hear them. And my awareness of our oneness, of our power, of our eternalness. I release this to the action of the law, knowing it is done, it is, and I say, Amen, Ashe, and so it is. Gently bring yourself back into the moment. I don't know about you, but for me, those tones really are miraculous.
Just the spiritual house cleanse.
Yes.
Yeah. The power connection, like the oneness, a sense of oneness with the music and the video as it's kind of going throughout the different scening. I feel like I'm in it.
Yeah. 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 It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can feel that.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
so let's seal that with the wonderful affirmation that you have put together to us. And so I invite you to repeat after me, wherever you are, whenever you are. Today's affirmation leading into our talk: God sees through my eyes, hears through my ears, touches through my hands, and speaks through my voice. I am one with God.
Mm.
Let's say this one more time.
Yeah.
God sees through my eyes, hears through my ears, touches through my hands, and speaks through my voice. I am one with God.
Yeah. The power of oneness. The power of oneness. That's our conversation for today. And so I prepared a few words. But I want you guys to listen and actively listening. There's a point where I ask you to put some stuff in the chat. If you can participate in that, that'll be great. So let me just say this affirmation one more time. God sees through my eyes, hears through my ears, touches through my hands, and speaks through my voice. I am one with God. I believe God created the idea of oneness not to isolate, disconnect, or separate us from one another, but for us to unite in harmony and unity, to become one with Him, right? Being in oneness with God is a thing of beauty. It means being intentional and unified, right? And it is mighty. It requires agreement, connection, cohesiveness, and harmony, and can create amazingly miraculous results. There's a scripture in St. John 17, chapter 17, verse 21, where Jesus says that they may all be one, as you, Father, are in me, and I am in you. May they also be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. Right? So here at the Near Center, we believe that we are one with God. We are direct descendants of His creation, and therefore God is in us, just like as Naomi often says, the drop of water that's in the ocean is as much the part of the ocean as the ocean is itself. And so let me give you a few examples of oneness, right? A good illustration of oneness would be to watch ants working as a team. You ever think about some ants? You ever seen them? They work in synchronized oneness for the benefit of the entire colony. They line up in soldierly form. They're tunneling. Some are carrying food and others are looking for food, but they're all working together, right? Another example would be synchronized swimmers. I love how they display oneness, right? It's fantastic to see swimmers working synergistically in oneness and harmony. It is awe-inspiring, glorious, and mighty. And then the last example can be marriages. Marriages flourish and grow when couples are on the same page and oneness, right? Relationships are more robust when two work together, right? So what is oneness? What is oneness? So imagine that you're the whole universe. You live in total joy and bliss. Imagine there is no past or future, only right now. Imagine there is no space or time, just an unbounded eternity. Imagine endless peace, harmony, and unconditional love. Imagine no fear and equality in all things. This is oneness. Right? Now, unfortunately, we can never imagine it fully, right? To understand or experience anything, we generally must compare it to something else, immediately bringing us into duality. Oneness, by definition, is incomparable. Right? So, is it ever possible to know oneness? Yes, but only by direct experience where we go beyond the mind, intellect, and ego. Right? Oneness is the coming together of all opposites. It is always with us as the basis and underlying essence of everything. If nothing, it's nothing in itself, but it holds the potential for everything. We have to go beyond the senses and duality to find oneness, right? I would say oneness is the most profound and sublime state a human being can ever achieve. A blissful, although usually fleeting, sensation when we are overcome with joy and multi-directional feelings of intense connection. Right? Oneness shows us the meaning of connection in every sense of the word. Essentially, oneness is a feeling of interconnectedness, right? A transcendence of boundaries or dividers. It is usually experienced as an intense heart opening and awareness of the inherent goodness of all beings, right? We get access to the ability to see beauty everywhere, in everything, and everyone. Imagining a pathway to end all human conflict is easy in that state of mind, right? If you're understanding oneness through the lens of connection, let's talk about connection. So Thich Nhat Hanh had a quote. He says, "We are here to awaken from the illusion of separateness. We are here to awaken from the illusion of separateness." That's a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, a great Buddhist monk, rest in peace. Often, concepts like oneness are monopolized by organized religions, spiritual seekers, or New Age devotees, right? Such groups tend to suggest that oneness is a privilege only for their members. But oneness is not something you need to qualify for spiritually to experience, right? It is free and readily available to everyone, regardless of their faith, hence the near center. You don't have to have a near-death experience or adopt any belief system to experience a state of oneness. As in my experience, this beautiful state of mind can occur as a spontaneous response to ordinary life events like a walk through the woods or a genuine conversation, right? I remember one time flying into Phoenix and going over the Grand Canyon and looking out the window on the plane and just seeing the vastness of it and amazing. And I can remember vividly the connection to oneness that I had at that moment, right? It's really a matter of recognizing oneness for what it is and inclining your mind toward it, right? So let's talk about some everyday examples of connecting with oneness, right? Like connection, oneness can be experienced on a micro level where the boundaries between you and another person dissolve, or more broadly, when you feel as if you're united with all of creation, right? It can be a momentary wave of feeling and awareness that passes over you, or an impactful and life-altering experience when you suddenly see the truth of everything and the meaning of connection is manifest, right? Experiences of oneness often happen when we are alone and frequently occur in nature, right? There's an environmental philosopher named Glenn Albrecht who describes oneness with nature as a feeling where the boundaries between the self and the rest of nature are obliterated, and a deep sense of peace and connectedness pervade consciousness, right? And so I just want you to take for example a moment to think about what are some descriptions you would use for oneness. And I'll give some time to place that in the chat. What are some descriptions you would use for oneness? Let's put them in the chat. We'll come to them and talk about them a little bit. When you think about oneness, what's some descriptions that come to mind for you? And just place that in the chat. While you're doing that, I'll share some of the other ones I came up with. An experience of feeling closeness and unity to all that surrounds you. A momentary burst of love, gratitude, and interconnectedness as you sit with cherished friends. The awe and significance or insignificance you feel when gazing up at the stars. I'm doing some stargazing this week, right? A silent, sudden awareness that strangers on the subway are your brothers and sisters, all you New Yorkers out there. Right? The realization that others have many of the same dreams and heartaches that you have. A sense that you are in sync with the universe and breathing through the lungs of the earth. I like the posture of presence we just talked about. Feeling in complete harmony with an understanding of every sentient being. I love this one. A state of neither wanting nor needing anything. Mid satisfaction, right? A deep knowledge that everything is going to be okay. Everything will be okay. Everything always works out. In a sense that everything is linked and that everything we do affects the world. So let's talk about cultivating oneness to promote connection. Right? So I find it helpful to think about oneness as a practice. Something we stay open to and intentionally strive to cultivate. Experiences of oneness are profoundly heart-opening and can turbo boost you on your journey to more connected living. Right? Moments of oneness are deeply connecting both in the moment and in how they shape our view of the world and our place in it. Right? Think about yourself if you work in the office environment. Try lifting your gaze from your desk and to take in the more extensive network of people you are a part of, or even if you just visualize it in your mind. Right? You are closing your eyes on a hike to listen to the natural environment. Or maybe you're singing along at a live concert or a church service and feeling your voice join others. We talked about that last night. That's what we were doing at the restaurant. Right? Oneness illuminates natural wisdom, making it far easier to see what matters in life and what doesn't. See, oneness enables us to bask in a sense of worthiness, belonging, and beauty. In short, it helps us see and experience the true meaning of connection. So the ultimate meaning of connection is a supreme state of interconnection. Right? Emotions like love, appreciation, and peace tend to spring up during experiences of oneness. And this is often a clue that you are entering into one of those ultra-connected states. Right? All you have to do is savor these moments and linger with them longer to allow them to amplify. Take note when you feel your mind and heart opening simultaneously. And don't be afraid to be over-inclusive in your definition or experiences of oneness. Right? This is a territory where more is most certainly merrier. Right? Feelings of oneness and connection are mutually expansive. The more alert you are to noticing oneness in new scenarios, the more you will experience it. And these moments, natural, welcome result is a profound sense of genuine connection. So now that we've shared some insight on oneness, I want to give you some suggestions for connecting with oneness. I'm going to give you 3 of them. The first is to see your own oneness, right? And as you stand in front of a mirror, pause for a moment and look directly into your eyes. And you can either say this silently to yourself or you can say it aloud. Ahum Bra Mas Me. Ahum Bra Mas Me. Ahum Bra Mas Me. Which means I am the universe or I am the totality, right? You can say it in English if you prefer. Instead of Ahum Bra Mas Me, you can just say I am the universe, I am the totality. Right? This is your soul reflecting into itself and reminding itself of its oneness. Practice this at least once a day or whenever you catch a reflection in a mirror. Right. The second suggestion is namaste. Right. The Indian blessing namaste is accompanied by bringing the palms together in front of you, in front of the heart center when meeting or taking leave of someone. It means I recognize the divinity in you, which is also the divinity in me. Or in other words, we are the same oneness. If it's uncomfortable to say it aloud, think about it silently whenever you meet someone. And then the third thing is Om, right? So oneness is the potential for all sounds, but is itself silent. In every moment of existence, the whole of creation constantly emerges from the silence of oneness. The first sound or vibration emerging from the silence is Om. This vibration then expands into all sounds and vibrations of the universe. When we chant Om, it draws our awareness back to the dawn of creation and to oneness. Om. All right. Okay.
Such a rich talk. Thank you. Such a rich talk. So many things. And I already showcased on the screen the different responses that people shared in terms of the word that came up for oneness. But I want to go back to a couple of things you shared, but I'll start at the end here with this insight plus application equals results, the application of see your oneness, namaste, and Om. And so each of these that you are shared is steeped in the Indian Vedic traditions, as you shared, which we more broadly call Hinduism. Though they also the namaste and some of the yoga practices in those that practice more Buddhism, but it really is steeped in the Vedic traditions that we know as Hinduism. And so even inherent in the language that you gave to talk about oneness, you can see in this word here, Brahma. And Brahma is in Hindu the ultimate. The ultimate is Brahma. And so you can see that in the word, right? Ahum Brahmasmi, Ahum Brahmasmi.
Is that how you say it?
I don't know, but I don't
Love
know, but maybe.
I like it. Say that again. Just hit me with it.
Someone who practices
Just hit us
Hinduism
one more time, man.
will come and correct us. And so we recognize and don't pretend to speak on behalf of the tradition or as practitioners of the tradition, and yet we seek to acknowledge and honor the sacredness of this practice, right? And
Right.
so forgive us for any mispronunciation, but again, can see that within it is Brahma, who is the ultimate in the Vedic traditions. And so Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. And you can feel the vibration in your body. And that's why chanting is such a sacred practice, right? And it's like you shared, Mark, with the third part of your application of the Om. If you all have never practiced chanting the Om, it's very powerful. And there's YouTube videos out there that will give you some guidance from Hindu practitioners on doing an Om chanting practice. Sometimes, if you are practicing yoga more authentically from people who are practitioners, that will be embedded in the practice, and what would typically occur is you would take the deep breath in and then breathe out the Om, and you've got to be willing to fully express it. And I will say, the more fully you express it, the more you'll receive from it. And so And you may experience yourself as an instrument, right? And it is because you are. That's that oneness that Marc is talking about, the sound of the universe. You're experiencing yourself as that alignment, that connection. So powerful, Marc. So thank you. These are three very, very transformative, sacred, powerful practices that Marc is inviting you into. So I join him and invite each of us in embarking over this.
Try it for the week. Try it for the week. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, if you're still unclear on YouTube, you'll find support for all of these practices through various YouTube videos that practitioners have put out. In the course that I co-taught as a teaching fellow in the fall, interreligious engagement, where the students there embark on practices from various traditions. When we got to the Hindu week, one of the options for the practice and part of their grade is to do the practice and then to journal about it and share that journal experience back in to turn it in for grading. And one of those practices was to do a week-long OM practice. So very, very powerful stuff. The other thing I wanted to go back to, and I don't know if you can reference it in your talk because I don't remember the exact language, but where you were talking about oneness and the
What are some
statement.
descriptions you would use for oneness? With a
No,
question? No.
it was the part where you talked about various traditions would say that oneness is only achieved through their particular way of seeing and doing things. But you were saying, you made some statement about oneness is not something that you have to be part of to experience spiritually. If you could go back and restate that, I thought that was a beautiful statement of spiritual oneness.
Yeah.
It was like in the early middle of your passage. Anyways,
No, I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to think of the exact way that I said it.
the point is that this is the heart of the matter, right? That particular traditions will have specifications of who you must be, what you can do, what you must do, what you can't do, what you shouldn't do. And what the Nia Center is all about is that we are born spirit. We are
Often
born.
concepts like oneness are monopolized by organized religions, spiritual seekers, or New Age devotees. Such groups tend to suggest that oneness is a privilege only for their members. But oneness is not something you need to qualify for spiritually to experience. It is free and really available to everyone, regardless of their faith.
I mean, that sums up everything. It really does. It sums up everything. Oneness is available to all of us at all times because it is our birthright. It is our reason for being. We came out of a creative source that's full nature and purpose is to create. And so needed to create as many ways to keep creating, right? And so we are that creation so that we may continue to create, and so on and so on and so on and so on. It is our birthright. It is our purpose, oneness and connection. Now, on any given moment, we forget that. we
It
don't
said
live
it's an
into
emotion
it.
that's usually fleeting, right? That it
Yeah,
comes and then it
yeah,
goes, right?
yeah, exactly. But because we've forgotten it, because we're not living into it, doesn't mean that it's not there.
Yeah.
It's your analogy you use, Marc, which is um, an analogy and an explanation of when you turn off the light in the room, it doesn't mean energy is not there.
Right. It's always present.
It's always present. You're just not always conscious of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for such a powerful talk.
Right. Thank you. So, what were some of the descriptions of folks with oneness? What do they have here? Happy Father's Day, Phil. Thank you, brother. Um, Alignment. Okay. Love. Empathy and compassion. I think you meant compassion, but we work with
Yes,
that.
it's missing an O.
Water. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Water. Complete. Monty says complete. Okay, king and queen. Whole. When you're walking in nature and you come across a beautiful waterfall and you feel a moment of serenity and inspiration, absolutely. We talked about that. Often you connect to the oneness when in nature. That's the most common connection of it. Unison. Planets. Okay. Okay. Connection, essence, and divine's creation of love. Got it. Powerful, all powerful descriptions of oneness, right? I don't think anybody has a monopoly on it. I certainly don't, and that's why I asked what some of you all's descriptions would be for oneness. I had some that I listed. I talked about being on the subway and realizing everybody on the subway is your brother or sister. That could be power. I came across a video that I posted about 8 years ago where I was giving free hugs on the subway. Remember that now? I had a friend that called me. He's like, "Man, what about all those germs?" This was pre-COVID, obviously.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
But what a beautiful thing, right?
It was a powerful
And you didn't get sick.
I didn't.
You know, and so really it's a testimony, right? That really is a testimony that when you're operating in alignment and oneness, there is an embedded power that no science might be able to measure the impacts of it. Of like, you didn't get sick, science could measure that. You did these things, encountered this, and this didn't happen. That could be measured.
It was very uplifting. I tell you, it was a wonderful feeling. I guess I was just feeling the connectedness. What subway we were trying? I was riding the one train and something else.
Oh yeah, definitely. Free hugs. There somewhere out there. There's video.
I think I gave about 200 free hugs that day.
Yep. And you never know whose life you touched and whose life you might have saved.
Yep.
Right. You never know.
Men, women, all those sorts of people, right? Black, white, Latin, brown. Yeah.
And in this environment, right? Just imagine the power of free hugs. That's a real courageous act. It is on any day. But I was just watching the news today and some of the statistics about the fear that people have around their well-being in this day and time. The notion of offering out free hugs continues to be a supremely courageous and act coming from oneness of true namaste, the embodiment of namaste.
Yeah. So oneness is powerful. So Nate, tell us, why did you choose oneness for the Nia Center?
Because I do believe, as I said before, that oneness is our birthright, that we are creative beings, that we are the living manifestation of the one, the ultimate, that which I could never fully understand and no name would fully address, though called by many names and described in many ways. That is what we are. That's who we are. That's what all beings in life are on this planet, and that it is our purpose to continue to create, that there is a source out there that is creative by nature, meaning that's what it does. It creates, it expands, it continues eternally. And my brain thinks if that was if I had all the power and no limitations and my only point of purpose was to create, that I would want to, like a company, I would want to leverage, right? Why would I just do it all myself when I can create some leverage, some others to support me in doing that creating? Because now I can magnify my power, right? And that is what has occurred. And we are a reflection of that creation with the role of creating. And so we are one. We're one with one another through that source. We are one with that source. And that is the fundamental, most important thing that we would want to understand about ourselves and our life here. Everything else almost doesn't matter if you don't get that right fundamentally. But it matters in the sense of everything that you do flows from that space. Now, again, we don't always live in that consciousness, and most times we aren't in that consciousness, but you feel the power when you do, which is what when we do our posture of presence and our meditative moment. You feel it. That's that energy that you feel, the energy I still feel, right? The energy I feel from doing the chant right now, still. The energy I feel from saying Om right now. That energy I feel when I'm given the opportunity to allow, when I give source the opportunity to fully flow through me, and I'm able to be in a facilitative space with other creative beings, and we're co-creating on that vibrational level. And I just come away with a joy and just a wonderful feeling that I can't explain. Mark, you and I have experienced it together in rooms many times, and just people are like, y'all are in sync and y'all are saying, and it's like you're flowing. It's that oneness given the full power to do what it does. So to me,
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's like there's no boundaries, right? When you think about oneness, just to imagine no boundaries. And they said it's hard to imagine oneness for long because you want to compare it to something, right? But I think it is very powerful, and it came to me a few weeks ago. That's why I did want to do this talk today, and I do the replay. That this is something worth having a good conversation on.
Absolutely. 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 And when you put joy and love on top of it, which are just other forms of oneness, right? But worth calling out in a world where we forget, right? That anytime we're truly experiencing joy, we're in a position of oneness. When we are giving and receiving love, we're in a position of oneness. And so they all feed each other, but worthy, I think, of calling out the joy and love. So when we send you out each week with the spirit and energy and vibration of oneness, love, and joy, no, it is the ultimate vibration. It's that vibration we feel when with that 963 hertz tones.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
No. And it's almost the top of the hour. So family,
enjoy your Juneteenth. For those that I'll be celebrating, if you're going to any festivals, whatever, enjoy it. As you reflect on the meaning of Juneteenth that they gave us earlier, and what it's about, it's really not a celebration; it's a recognition, right?
yeah. I mean, it's a celebration of freedom in the sense of freedom is good and should always be celebrated, right? And is not to be taken for granted. And if you turn on the news, you get reminded of that on a daily basis. So yes, we are celebrating our ancestors and the legacy that they have left us, right? Certainly those ancestors that have left the legacy of good, not so much the ones that have left the legacy of oppression. But so let me clarify our ancestors.
Which ancestors?
All ancestors in forms and fashions that left a legacy of good, right? And
of oneness, love, and joy.
Of oneness, love, and joy, right? Absolutely. We're celebrating that. We're celebrating the freedom that continues to be and is critically important. And we acknowledge the journey that brought us here, and that journey is not done. That journey is not done. Right. And that, as Dr. Joe Leonard said in his talk, calling on the language that precedes him of none of us are free until all of us are free. And all of us are not free. So it is that that space of Juneteenth that has us in reflection of navigating that nuance of the journey continues and a distance has been traveled. So with that, Mark, we invite you to lead us into a closing prayer.
All right. Don't forget to follow, subscribe to the Nia Center, the podcast, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. You also have the Facebook group, Allverse. All right. And we talk about blessings of oneness, love, and joy. And so today we come together in the spirit of oneness, knowing that we are all, that God is in us and we are in God and we are a part of each other. We are connected through that. I recognize the divinity in each of you, which is also the divinity in me. Right? We are the same oneness. It means we come from the same source. We have the power that creates the world, the universes within us. We get to tap into that. May we tap into that as we go forward into our daily activities and with the activities in front of us. May we embrace this oneness. May we find a moment to connect with it today. Connect with it today, whether it be on a walk or gazing at the moon or stars in the evening, listening to a song, singing in unison with the song, with the choir, or at a festival, right? Enjoying the food that we may be taking part in, that we go out powerfully together in love and in joy and the reception of each other as all divine beings. In your name we pray, amen, and so it is.
And so it is, and so it is, and namaste.
Om